which card I'm supposed to have, Jay. Bella, hello. Britt, hello. Everybody, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just so everybody knows, I'm Silly Lily. You guys are about to watch Lessons Learned. I'm going to have two amazing guests. Is that Robert right there? Hi. And then we have Bliss Muffin up second. And so I've not yet met Robert. I'm excited. Yay, X, yay. And I've met Bliss Muffin. Well, I know who she is. She's yet to meet me because she was on Kitty Commander's featured show Monday. And let me just say, I'm excited. I'm excited, excited, excited. But I'm going to go ahead, guys. We're going to let Emoji J in my box. Emoji J is my admin. He does my opening parts. If you would like to be on this show, or if you are looking to start a show, I'd reach out to Jay. He's a big help. He's helped me with a lot through the past. Oh my God, Jay. Oh my God, Jay. We're going on like 10 months now. Wow. Hi, Bliss. Let's see if I can find that one really quick. Hi, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jay, very much. There it is. All right. How is everybody? Happy Friday. I am so excited. Today we have two amazing guests. We have Robert and we have Bliss Muffin. But first and foremost, you guys, before I do my Q&Q and then introduce Robert into the box, I want to remind you that none of us are professionals. We are simply sharing an experience that we had, how we were able to put it behind us, come up on top of it, whatever the situation is. It's a lesson life taught us, right? And we hope that in sharing our story, it might help someone else. I will also like to state that if you're somebody out there and you're really struggling with something, that reaching out to professionals is a must and highly recommended. Okay. I would like to pre-thank everybody for favorites, gifts, and just for your time spent here. I know that especially Friday mornings can get busy, so I appreciate whatever time you do have to spend with me. It means a lot to us. And again, Emoji J is my admin. If you'd like to be on the show, please reach out to him on IG. He will be putting that information down in the chat for you guys. And then in between guests, we will do a little self-care, self-love segment. And with cold and cough season coming up, I have a little remedy that I like to use for coughs that's all natural that I'll be sharing. So, Robert, I'm going to ask you to request a box, but it'll still be 3 or 4 minutes before I have you get in, okay? And that way I see you're there and I see you're waiting. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so the Q&Q from last week is, I've done well, but the reason is pretty simple. I've worked my ASS off. The toughest thing a performer can do is make it look as if it comes easy. What one thing have you worked hardest at? I read it again while you guys can see it. I've done well, but the reason is pretty simple. I've worked my butt off. The toughest thing a performer can do is make it look as if it comes easy. What one thing have you worked the hardest at? Ooh, Tisa's trying to be more open. Okay. Okay. Boob says she's the best life for her daughter. I think the hardest thing that I've worked on as an adult, it's kind of different than a lot of your answers. I don't know that it should be different though, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm really been focused on self-love and self-care so that I can be a better mom. I can be a better employee. I can be a better friend, right? It's a lot of putting myself first for once. It's been a lot of me time, a lot of me time. X says, okay, overcoming loss. That's a big one. That is really hard to do. It is really hard. And I don't know that I've ever gotten over my losses. I think as it is, it just becomes more acceptable. You know, it gets, I'm not going to say easier every day, but some days are easier than others. Well, thank you, Kate. You guys, again, thank you for the favorites. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of it so very much. I appreciate the hearts and everything too. We're just going over, if you're just tuning in, we're doing the weekly Q&Q. It says, I've done well, but the reason is pretty simple. I've worked my butt off. The toughest thing a performer can do is make it look as if it comes easy. What one thing have you worked the hardest at? Now, if we're talking like basic work type stuff, as far as like a job, I'm going to say the home remodeling. I'm going to say the drywall, tile, painting. I've made it a point to get my foot in that door and to become really good at it. And even on days where I have half a hand, I'm still at work. I'm still mudding the walls. I'm still sanding. I'm still painting. And I'm still making these 100-year-old homes gorgeous again, you know? So for me, it's, I guess it depends on what part of life we're talking about. But I'm gonna stick with my overall answer is self-love, self-care, and taking time for myself. And making friends, making some really good friends. All right, Robert, are you ready? You guys, so Robert is coming on with us as sort of a last minute. So we want to make sure that we thank him extra for being here, because, you know, as usual, it's amazing to have, you know, two guests and to have somebody willing to jump in on the dime to help you fill in. It's, you know, thank you. So Robert's lesson this week, hold on, I'm pulling it up because I was half asleep this morning and I want to say it was based on gratitude with his work. Here we go. So yeah, it's going to be gratitude. And actually, I'm just going to leave it at that. Robert's going to hop in the box here. Robert, you ready? Yes? All right. Guys, I'm accepting Robert now. I make sure that you answer me so I don't like let you in when you're, you know, I don't know, blowing your nose or something silly. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you again for being here.
You're welcome. So, like you said, my story is a lesson on gratitude. And so I started working at this job. It's probably over 6 years ago now because I'm at a different job now. But the job I was at before, I won't say the name of the company, but it was a chain of convenience stores. And I worked there. I was there for probably about 9 months before I was just like, my soul started to just, I was broken. Like the way I was treated, it was just completely unnecessary and unacceptable. I would do 10-hour shifts where I would get a 10 and 2 5-minute breaks, one 10-minute and 2 5-minute breaks for a 10-hour shift. Your breaks are never guaranteed to be uninterrupted at this job. So if I'm on a 10-minute break eating a sandwich, and I hear a bell, I would have to drop my sandwich and stop what I'm doing and go out and work, or
Right.
ring on register. And then I'd have to like keep in, because they didn't have like electric clock-ins. They were doing, and this was only a little over 6 years ago, so there's no excuse as to why they didn't have that. They used
Right.
pencil and paper to clock in and clock out for everything.
Right.
So with pencil and paper, I would, write in, when I came in, when I left, and I would have to like keep an eye on I used my stopwatch to say, okay, I was on my 10-minute break. I was 3 minutes into my sandwich. Now I have to stop everything and work. And then I can go back and finish my 7 minutes that I had left.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I remember one time, I only had about 2 hours left in my shift, and I only had taken a 10 and a 5. So I asked my manager if I could take the last 5. And she said, "You can't today. I have too much I have to try to get done right now. So you're gonna have to skip that. Um, I could maybe give you an extra 5 another day or something like that." And she never did, of course. And it took every ounce of patience and strength in me not to take off my apron, throw it on the floor, and walk out the door saying I quit. Everything. It just took everything. So I kept going, I kept strong, because I said to myself, I don't want to just leave without having something else lined up, because that would be good for me. I live in my own apartment, I have to pay rent, I have to pay electric, my phone.
Right.
I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. So I looked and I looked and I looked, and finally I found a job that I thought would be a good fit for me. And so I was actually, I don't even know why I did this. I shouldn't have even done this, because most people give a 2 weeks notice, but I just gave a month's notice, because it wasn't going to be another month until I actually was able to step in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and I spoke to the manager, and I said, I'd like to speak to you privately. And I sat down and I said, in about a month, I'm going to be working at a different job. So I'd like to give you my month's notice. And from that point on, for that entire month that I was fulfilling my 1 month's notice, she hammered me down to the floor. Like, it's almost as if she wanted me to quit so that I couldn't leave the company on good terms, it felt like. But at the same time, I understand that as a manager for that company in particular, there's a lot that's required of you. And I'm sure a lot of stress was involved with the way she treated the employees. So, I don't throw it all on her. There's a company that's above her that's putting all this strain and stress on her and demands. So one day I was working, and I was filling the fridge with like fresh bottles of milk and stuff to put out for the coffee and stuff, and the milkshakes and everything. And as I'm doing that, she says, "Come on, come on, come on, work faster, sweat, sweat." And I was like, wow. I was like, I can't even believe she's telling me this right now. Like, I'm crouching on the floor on my knees, filling this little fridge, and she's like, "Come on, come on. We got things to do. We got things to do." And I was like, I can't even believe this. I was like, and I worked faster, as fast as I could. And I was so stressed out. Like, I would come home from work and I would want to just cry. But I did everything I could to just keep pushing on, because I knew that I was going to have this other job that was going to be so much better for me.
Right.
And so the last week, um, I still had like another 2 days left of my 1 month's notice. And I looked at the new schedule for the final week, and she had crossed me off for the last 2 days. I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to do the last 2 days that I am scheduled to work." And she was like, "No, that's fine." And I thought to myself, I wonder if she's trying to make it look like I quit or I didn't put in my notice. I was like, I don't even care, because I'm never coming back. I was like, I put in my 1 month's notice. I'm not gonna like, even try to figure out what's going in her mind, what's going on in her head. So I started the new job. I started off mainly as a cashier up front at the new job, and over time, um, I was asked to like be like a front end lead, almost like a head cashier, but not really an official supervisor or managerial position. So I would
Right.
like tell the cashiers, you know, okay, it's time to go on your break. You can turn off your light. Can you please do returns? Can you please collect baskets or things like that? So I started doing that a couple times a week, besides the other days that I was just on register. And then this one, because they have like a front end manager, a store manager, and then an assistant store manager. And I want to say about 2 or 3 years into working there, um, the assistant store manager, who is now the actual like store manager, like the head manager of the entire store. At that time, she said, Robert, I noticed that your name isn't on the list for wanting to try to train to work in the office. Are you not interested in that? And I had heard about the office position and I was interested in it, but I kind of wanted like day shift hours, and the positions available were all closing. They used to close at 9 o'clock, but ever since COVID, they changed the time to 8 p.m., which is really nice.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to keep it like that because they decided to open up an hour earlier. So,
Okay.
so that's really nice. So then I started training in the office, and I was doing about 2 days a week in the office, and the rest of my days up front on register. And then just recently, I was asked as an office associate, and don't do any more hours up front on register.
Nice.
So I was so excited about that, because basically in the office, it's just a lot more laid back. You know, you do get customers that come to the office with their refunds and crazy demands sometimes, and it can be stressful for a few minutes. But then I say to myself, I always try to remember, like, at least you're not where you were, you know? Every single day I try to tell myself, like, look at this. You're sitting at a computer typing in numbers, you know, you're counting a safe, you're counting money, and it's just a lot more stress-free, you know, and you're not dealing with the crazy, unrealistic demands that were put upon you in your other job. So every day, you know, I try to just look up and say thank you. I am so grateful. You know, if you really try and put good energy out into the universe, that energy is going to come back and it's going to make you strong, and good things are going to happen for you. I really believe that.
Yeah.
So now my experience as an office associate has been so much better. I'm so happy. I honestly can tell you that I would like to retire there, you know, and I'm not even very close to retirement age, and I'm very excited to spend the rest of my life working there. I'm very, very happy. I've never been treated so well by managers and even coworkers, and a lot of the times even customers, because when you treat your employees well, the customers, it's like a chain reaction. It's a domino effect, and the customers see the joy and the peace in the workers, and they reflect back kindness.
Yeah, absolutely. So really quick, guys, I just want to interrupt you guys. This is Robert. We are talking about gratitude, especially in the workplace. I am Silly Lily, and this is Lessons Learned. I oh God, I'm so annoyed I first of all, I want to say you are a much kinder soul than I, because had any boss of mine walked up and spoke to me the way that you were spoken to, I can promise you my apron would have been on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually,
you are a lot stronger than me.
oh, I try.
But I understand though, because you have the bills, you have these responsibilities, you have these things you can't lose. So I too have stayed at jobs where I wasn't happy, but had someone walked up to me and been like, hurry up, sweat, sweat, sweat. Oh heck no. I at that point that would have been my final drop. I don't know if you see my face and you said that, but I was like,
Yeah.
like I mean, I don't think that the majority of people don't understand that if the management treats the employees right, the employees are happy and they treat the guests right. Okay. It's
Yeah.
like a trickle effect. I started a thing a little over a year ago, and you guys are going to think this is silly, but I go through the drive-through, unfortunately, far too often. Okay. And upon my many entrances and orders in said drive-through, I can tell you 2% of the people smile while they take my order.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you smile while you take my order, I give you a $5 tip when you get to the window.
Oh, wow.
Because
Wow.
you can hear it in a person's voice. And I'll tell
Yeah.
them, thank you for smiling today. I needed that. Because people don't understand that something as small as that smile, when I get to the window, you don't know what I'm going through. And if I hand you my money and you're, I'm just thinking, oh my God, another cranky person. I can't do this. Everyone's so mean, right?
Yeah.
But when I get it to the window, you're like, hi, how are you? What can I get for you today? And you're like, I'd like a double cheeseburger and a small fry and an extra large Coke because I need the caffeine, you know? And
Yes.
and they chuckle because I'm a smarty pants. So a lot of times I say something funny and they'll chuckle and they're laughing with me and they're having a good time. And I get to the window and they're giggling and I'm like, I needed that right now. I needed that little small giggle. And so to me, it's all that trickling effect, you know? And I tell people, thank you for smiling all the time. Because you guys
It makes a huge difference. It makes such a huge difference. You know, when you're nice to people and to be in an environment where everyone seems to be happy and enjoying themselves, it's a complete 180. And I'm just so grateful that I was able to find a place that I'm this happy at. Because I was like, and then when I go in there sometimes, like, because I still go to that, because it's a chain of convenience stores in my area, in like the state. And so like, it's so convenient to stop there for gas or to pick up a sandwich. But when I go in there and I look into the employee's eyes, I'm like, I think to myself, I feel for you, you know, if you don't, you know, if you know, I don't expect you to be happy right now because I know I've been there, I've done it. But at the same time, I will go in there and I'll see people, like you said, that do smile and are like, hey, you know, here's your change, have a great day. And I'm like, wow, like that takes a lot. It really does, you know, and it's appreciated. It really is.
Yeah. Smiling is
I
definitely.
actually started, so the new job, yeah, it's huge. I started the new job April of 2016. So April of January, February, March, April. So last April made 6 years, I believe. 17, 18, yeah. So, and I already had, I'll cover my last name. I had already gotten my 5-year plaque a while ago. It has my name on top of the
Oh, nice.
yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's like a little number 5. I got for making 5 years. And then when I get 10 years, I'll get a 10-year.
Okay.
So I was really excited. I actually, when I went into, I was in when Jordan and CJ were doing show and tell, I actually brought this to one of their show and tells.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
it's the little things like that tell employees that you're grateful. And management, I get it. Sometimes we get down, we get chewed out, and we gotta like buckle down on the people. But there's two different ways to go about it. The way that they went about it with you, and then literally pulling everybody on board and being, look, this is what I need, this is what I expect. How can we make this work? You know what I mean? And it's about compromising. And if you want your employee to work to their fullest potential, you can't give them 20 minutes of breaks total for a 10-hour shift. That's an absolutely ridiculous expectation, you know? So yeah, there's a lot that you covered in this. The gratitude, and for me, you definitely showed that you have a lot more patience than I have. I know that. Oh my God, a whole month of that.
And I'm telling you, you know how you said you would drop your apron and walk out the door? I actually saw someone else do that, an older woman that was working for her. She walked in, put her apron on. The first thing the manager said was, go do this. It's time to do a check, like a floor check to make sure everything's perfect. She was like, go do it. Like, what are you doing? You're supposed to do this right away. We've been through this. And she took off her apron, threw it on the floor and said, I quit, walked out the door. And I watched her do that and I was like, I kind of want to do it too, but I'm not going to. I was like, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out.
Yeah, I don't know. I commend you for doing the right thing, because I am gonna say most of us probably would have not even given notice and just left.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have given the 2 weeks, and if they would have said something like that to you, though, like they did to you, I wouldn't have stayed another minute. I
Yeah.
I I believe that respect is a two-way street, and you
It
know,
is.
the only thing that I would stop it would depend on who I was working with, I think. Like if I
That
was
might, yeah,
working like if I was working with you, Robert, and I got really upset, I would not leave you alone at least that shift, right?
right.
Like I would make sure that you at least had me for the rest of that shift. But then after that, I'm gonna let you know I'm not gonna be back, okay? Like I stayed for you, not for them today. Like so
Right.
I can perceive that being like a little thing. Like I don't want that's my friend. I don't want to do that to my friend. Oh, you're lucky I'm working with my friend today, like
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that would, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, for sure. And I did work with people that, that were nice. So that kind of helped a little bit. But
yeah.
having that manager and then having the people come in that work above her with their clipboards and saying all these things that she needs to do. And then we'd have our meetings once a week, which I would have to go on to my meetings on my day off sometimes. Like she would say, "Oh, the meeting's on this day." I'm like, "Okay, that's my day off. Is there any way I could be pulled to the side and when I come into work the next day?" She was like, "No, you're going to come here on your day off and you're going to be in the meeting. That's how it's going to be."
Am I getting paid for it?
I was like, she was like, "You're getting paid 1 hour for it, but half the time the meeting would run over an extra 15, 30 minutes." And I would be like, I didn't even want, I asked her once about it and she was like, "Really, 15 minutes?" And so I was like, I'm not even going to do it.
And
I
I'd
went over,
say my response would have been like, really? Yeah, four
yeah,
times in a month, that's an extra hour.
that's right. Exactly. Yep.
Like, yeah, over 15 minutes. I had told her. See,
Yeah,
that's where you were a lot more patient than me. I'd have been like, I'm fine. Then why don't you dock yourself 15 minutes?
exactly.
Why don't I
Yep.
leave 15 minutes early from my shift to make up for that?
Right.
Well, no. Well, then why is it acceptable for you to do it to me? See, I don't come. I got a big mouth. All right, Robert. Okay, thank you. Is there anything you want to add to that before I let you just do a little bit about like, when we can find you streaming, what we catch in your stream, your IG and all that fun stuff?
Oh, sure. So, I do stream on here sometimes, but lately I've been streaming on the other app that's also owned by Meet Me,
Okay.
um, Kick. I believe Meet Me owns that as well.
Okay.
I've been doing a little bit on there, more and more on there, but I do stream on here sometimes as well. I am under the same um, name, Robert, over there. Um, and yeah, Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. I usually go over there to the other app that's owned by Meet Me. And then I battle for the last half hour a friend over there. Her name's Katara. I battle her. Um, and I come here sometimes too, and I like to go into Jordan and CJ's stream a lot and hang out with them. And yeah.
All right. You have IG? Is it linked in your
Oh,
profile?
yes, I have Instagram. It's 3046_Robert.
Okay. If you get a minute, click on my name when you get out of the box. Click on mine. Add me so I can add you. Or no, I can add you from the message. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm sorry, I like read a few up and that was it. And I was like heading in my coffee, one eye was still open, and I'm like, you know. So yeah. But again, thanks for filling in, Robert. I really
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you so
You are a
much.
sweetheart. Y'all make sure you hit Robert with the favorite, and
Thank
we're gonna
you.
come try to check you out. All right.
All right, I'll see
All
you
right.
soon.
Bye, honey. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm Silly Lily, and you are watching Lessons Learned. That was Robert, and we talked about gratitude. And I think we learned a little bit about his level of patience, I believe, is a whole lot more than ours, most of ours, right? I don't think I could have sat through that, to be honest with you. Like 10-hour shifts, you get 5 minutes. What if I had to go potty? Like what, like so many questions went through my mind for those employers, employers. Like, So many questions, but thank God they're not my boss, because I don't think that we would have gotten along very well. I don't even know what my hair is doing today. But you guys, in the middle of my guests, we have up Bliss Muffin next. And you guys, I'm very excited for her to come up. She's like, I don't know what to do for my lesson. And Bliss, are you looking? Because when I read that, I was like, what do you mean you don't know I was like, literally like, what do you mean you don't have a life lesson? I just seen like 50 of them on Kitty's thing, you know? Hi, boss, bro. Like, those are all lessons. What do you mean? And then I'm like, but you got because animals, you guys, I don't know if you guys are animal lovers, but I am an animal lover. I've got my fur baby and I've got my 2 bearded dragons. My daughter would love for me to have a snake, but I can't, I don't have the time for anymore. Okay. But when I seen you on Kitty Commander's show, girl, I was like, oh my God. And you bring out the next one. I was like, oh my God. And you're like, this is the mean one. And I'm like, but look how cute. Whatever. Okay. Anyways, cute. Sorry. Self-care, self-love. We'll get to you in a minute. Sorry. You guys will understand in a minute. You'll get to see in a minute. And she's actually going to share. You're going to actually get to see some of her examples. What does that mean? What does that mean? Okay. Can we please remove that? Oh, dear God. Thank you. Okay. Self-care question number 1. And this is the same question I begin with every single week. Okay. Every single week. What did you do for yourself today? What did you do for yourself today? I watched the sunrise and it was beautiful. Ooh, nope, not gonna happen. Woke up with a positive attitude. I like that. Someone upset you this morning. That can't be here either. T said, I woke up and had breakfast. Did you have a healthy breakfast? Tis the question. No, having a breakfast is good. Oh, you carved pumpkins yesterday? Nice. What did you carve in your pumpkin? I got up, I made my coffee, I visited my friends that I enjoy spending my mornings with, and I sang. Oh, by the way, if any of you don't know, Gotti, are you here? Gotti, are you here? We're going to hope she comes back. If any of you see her here, let me know. Gotti, we're calling Gotti. Okay, so self-care question number 2. If I had money, what would I do? If you had an endless amount of money, what is it that you would do first? Children, future, travel. So I would definitely spoil my friends. I definitely get my dream truck. I definitely buy a house. I would secure my children's future. But the very first thing I would do is hire a lawyer to invest so that I can sit here on my derriere for the rest of my life and still make money. That's the first thing I would do. Then I would donate or somehow build a place where kids could go. There's a lot of communities that don't have safe places for children to even just spend their days at and to have fun and even just read books or play board games. Like I would have like a community center. That would be one of the first things I built. And then if I had an endless supply of money, I would next build a humongous like hotel type place. And I would just do my best to bring in adults and adopt and foster kids that needed it, because that's what the world needs more of. Orphanage, yeah. You see, helping others, giving, give. Like, yes, you have to make sure you're taken care of, but what makes the world go round is giving people, you know, because if people stopped giving, there'd be nothing to take, right? All right. Self-care tip number one, and something I didn't realize until very, very recently is super, super important to me. And I don't know about how many of others out there don't get outside to enjoy nature and just listen to the sounds of nothing. You know, the birds, the crickets, the whatever, the water, if you're close to the water, and to just observe what's around you, right? Nature. Observe nature. Go on a hike. Explore new beautiful places, you know? Um I don't know. You guys ever just get out there and I went with my friend Chad. We went on we had an amazing weekend up in the Upper Peninsula. And we went on this. It was over 10 miles. It was over 10 miles. It was insane. We knocked that out and it was so refreshing. Like I wanted more. But to get out there and to just see, like, had we not done this 10-mile hike, we wouldn't have seen half of the things that people see because nobody goes out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was just absolutely amazing to get out there and to see the beautiful colors and just to see these waterfalls and the water alone. I had no idea. I grew up on Lake Erie, okay? Y'all ever seen Lake Erie? It's awful. Okay, so much so that they have like bacteria level warnings. Okay, so that's what I grew up thinking lakes were. So my whole life, I'm like, I need to be by the ocean. Lakes are gross. I can't do this. And I get up there on Picture Rock and I see Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, I think. Superior? Am I right? Am I wrong? Whatever. And I look down and it's clear water. You see through it. And I was like, wait a minute. So now, thank you, Chad. So now my whole entire outlook on things, right, is different because I took one weekend adventure. My entire outlook on my life and where I may end up and where I want to, you know, hopefully have my grandchildren visit and stuff in the far future, it's completely changed because of one adventure I took. To realize that just because the lake I see looks like that, they don't all look like that. Like, they really don't. All right, Bliss Muffin, I'm going to have you request the box. I'm going to do one more self-care tip. And then I'm going to have you welcome into the box. Ooh, there you go, Kite. You're amazing. You are amazing at writing. Kite, actually, oh my God, Kite, come back after the show. I have things that you are going to love to see. Oh my God, Kite, I can't believe I didn't think to tell you. I'm talking over 100-year-old books of poetry. People, oh, Kite, duh, yeah. Wait till you, okay, we can't, not right now. Self-care tip. Focus, Lily, focus. We got this later, okay? Ooh, you know what? When was the last time you guys got dressed up and went out? I'm not saying like, yeah, to even do anything like super fancy, but when was the last time you got yourself to where you were like, hey, I look good, and you just went out? When was the last time you guys did that? I'm gonna be honest, when we went to the casino, I felt like I looked pretty darn cute. So not too long ago. But that was after a long day of hiking too. And I still felt like I was like pretty cute looking. You need a recharge? There you go, Duck. I love when I get I did. I mean, I'm actually, I don't know if you guys seen Good Listener in here earlier, but I have entered my next and only auction for November. I am not doing any other ones because they in November, and I am going to do my darndest to get into the one that she has in December because it's a ball auction, and it's going to give me the reason to go buy the prettiest, fanciest, most dollsy dress that I can afford. Don't get me wrong, okay? And then I'm going to be able to do my hair all cute and so that's going to be my next like super fancy dress up, I hope. But you guys, we are going to welcome Bliss Muffin to the box. Are you ready, love? I'm going to wait till you say you're ready. I will do that. And I'm going to take a drink of this water because I don't know if you guys can notice, but my voice is definitely starting to take a turn for the worst. All right, here we go. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited. I only because I know what she's going to be showing.
Hi.
Hi. Hello, little babies. Look it. So if you guys don't
So
like snakes, this may scare you a little bit, but I'm obsessed.
this is actually a 2-week-old baby.
That's only 2 weeks old.
Yeah. They hatched 2 Fridays ago.
But don't they just come out like this, like 6 inches? Or how long do they come? It's so chunky already.
Okay, so basically my life lesson is about patience, but it's kind of like personalized to me because of these little things right here. So yeah, this is a 2-week-old blue-eyed Lucy ball python. They actually so to get to this point, it takes a very, very long time, and I'm one of those people that I like instant gratification, and I get anxious if I'm waiting for something. So to get to this point, to the point where you can actually breed them, it's about 3 years.
Okay.
And then it takes another like several months to even produce eggs. To get to this
so they can't reproduce until they're over 3.
So with snakes, you typically do it with weight, because if they're too small, having the eggs can actually, like, they can get impacted and kill the animal. So you want to make sure they're at a safe breeding weight. So with these guys, we wait till they're about 1,300 grams before we breed them, which generally is about 3 years if you don't power feed. A lot of people will overfeed an animal to get it to grow faster, because snakes will grow very fast. That's why the snakes in like the Everglades are gigantic, because they have an endless supply of food.
Right.
So those Burmese pythons are like 20 up to 24 feet, because they just are constantly eating.
Those ones scare me. Those little guys, I love it.
I actually have a Burmese python, but he's not that big. He's only like 10 feet.
The longest snake that I held was 6 feet, and it was my buddy's, and it was just the most docile, calm creature. I mean, this guy would have people over all the time. They'd be playing. They were in a band, so they'd be jamming downstairs, and I'd be walking around, and the snake would just chill around on my neck. People were all over the place.
Do you know what kind of snake it was?
Just the most common, most basic one you could get over here.
Probably a ball python.
Well, a ball python, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I should have pulled a picture of him up. I'll find a picture and I'll come show you.
Okay. Yeah, a female ball python can get about 6 feet.
Yeah. It's just, I'd say 5.5, 6 feet. He says 6.
Yeah.
It was just a little taller than me, and I'm 5.5 feet. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Or a boa. A young boa can get that big. Boas grow really, really, really slow. Like really slow, but they get gigantic.
Like 10 feet gigantic. I want to say that he said that she'll get up to about 10 feet.
Yeah,
I don't think he has her anymore.
Yeah, a female boa will get about 10 feet, but they also get really girthy, so they look gigantic.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll find a picture. I'll send you a picture. I know I have plenty. So patience. How does this little guy?
My brain's not functioning.
Patience.
I'm trying to wait for my caffeine to kick in. My brain's not functioning.
You're good. It's only like 7:44 a.m. for her there, y'all.
Yes, for sure. So patience. We started getting we got our first snake like 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it all went downhill from there. We became friends with a bunch of bigger breeders.
Right.
So we learned a lot before we ever started breeding, because I'm one that, especially when it comes to animals, I like to know everything there is to know, just because of how much bad information there is out there. Proper care is vital, especially when you want to get into breeding, because if they're not, like, the humidity's not right, the temperature's not right, like they don't thrive correctly.
Yep.
Like, hi.
I have that lecture with a lot of bearded dragon owners.
Oh, I have a 17-year-old bearded dragon.
What?
She was even a rescue. When I first got her, she was so skinny I could feel my fingers between her body.
My old man too.
Yeah.
We'll talk
And
about
now
baby dragons later, but
yeah.
we can go for hours. We just need a whole show for this.
I know. But so we ended up getting, I think within a year we had like 6 snakes. Hi. Um, are you curious?
Kisses.
For this being a baby, she's so docile right now because when they're babies, they're super defensive because you're like this big scary thing, and they're getting to learn everything, and so normally they're super defensive. But for some reason, this whole clutch, which um when you get snakes have clutches like dogs have litter, they're called clutch, so that word makes sense. um, but yeah, they're super docile.
Maybe do you think it's because you've been around from the very beginning, or do you think mom's like, hey, this lady's okay? Like, how do you think they know that you're okay?
I don't know, because snakes don't have that they don't have that part of their brain which gets emotional attachment. There's only like one snake that actually forms a bond, and that's an indigo, and they're rare in the pet trade. But as far as like most snakes go, they don't have that part of your brain. They tolerate you, they don't love you, which we all want to think our animals love us, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't have that ability. But I don't know, because I have some that like, I have one that she's the one that I said was the mean one last time.
Yeah.
She's always so sassy, always hissing. Like, she's tried to bite me several times, but none of the other ones have. Like, they're all like super and ball pythons are typically very, very docile snakes to begin with. They're good beginner snakes. I say beginner, like, please do your research. But I mean, they're good beginner snakes because they are so docile. And when they bite, it kind of, I mean, yeah, it startles you, but it mostly feels like a cat scratch when they're young. And by the time they're older, they should be handled enough to not. But it's a wild animal. There's always that risk.
Right. My dog will still snip. So it's all animals. It's
Yeah, I have a corgi, and he's a herding dog. So like, he bites at ankles to get you all in the same room.
Where he wants you.
It's wonderful when the kids are getting ready for school, and he knows that the kids are getting ready for school and supposed to be leaving at a certain time.
Isn't that crazy how they catch on though? Yeah. Look at it. I want one so bad.
So these guys will actually be available after they have 5 meals.
Okay,
so we actually
Go ahead.
We actually just started feeding trials with these guys because when they're born, when they hatch, they typically, you wait for them all to shed, have their first shed, and then you separate them, and then that week you can start feeding trials. And that's another like huge thing with patients, because you're like, it's so scary when they don't eat, because you're like, you worry about them thriving and stuff, but they actually have they absorb that yolk in the egg for a long time. Like, they have nutrients for a while. Right. This is the only one out of the 5 babies that didn't eat last night at the first time feeding. And that's really good odds, like that all of them ate the first time except for this one. That's why I'm handling her so much, because I don't typically handle after they eat for the first 24 hours, just because it's still digesting. And when a snake, if they get nervous or something, they can regurge. And if a snake regurges, you can't feed them for several weeks because it hurts them. So we just got to be very, especially with the babies. We got to be very, very careful.
She's just so curious.
Yeah, she's very, this whole.
I know that this isn't a patient's question. So how big was she when she was born?
Or not much. Only a little bit bigger than this, because the ball pythons have eggs.
So they just, how big are the eggs? I mean,
the eggs are actually about that big.
Okay, so then I can see them loop-de-doop-de up in one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm just saying your hands can't be much different than mine, and that snake's at least both you know what I mean? She's long, he's just long.
Yeah, my baby ball python hasn't eaten almost a year. The habitat has everything. So sometimes they don't eat. Like, you'll think they have everything, but every snake has its own mindset. Like, the humidity needs to be spot on. They need to have places to hide. Some of them like like we keep all of ours in tubs because we have so many, so we keep a rack system, but most breeders do, and they seem to do very, very well in the tub system. And everyone's like, oh no, that's too small. They don't want ball pythons in Africa. They stay in little dwellings in the ground, like little that's why they like it. You have to have it a certain temperature and a certain level of humidity, because they hang out in like the little holes in the ground or in bushes and stuff. They don't have a huge opening in the wild.
So they're not like adventurous creatures. They just kind of like to lay around, right? Like a bearded dragon. Everyone's, oh, you need more this, that. Now, granted, my one guy has a huge enclosure and the other guy roams free. I got a setup where I've got the temperature gauges all over my daughter's room. I got the heat lamp. He's got all the stuff. He's good. He's chunky and healthy, right? But
yeah,
like the other guy, I can't let him roam because then the big old guy will eat him because he's my little old man. They're both rescues. I wouldn't have them if I didn't have a soft soul. But when someone's about to buy, oh God, I went the biggest thing I think that gets me. And here's something that's something we can learn while talking about pets too. And you've mentioned it a few times. Research. Because people go, oh, well, a bearded dragon, it's like $100, you know, then, and it'll be easy. But what they don't understand is if you get the proper equipment, that's a $500 minimum. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then a juvenile bearded dragon, once they hit about 6 months up until they're about a year old, is going to cost you, if you don't have your own bug source. For me, this was before inflation, was $300 a month minimum for one. For one.
Yeah. People don't realize how expensive these animals are. They see the price tag and they're like, oh yeah, like my Burmese python was only $200. He's now a 10-foot snake. Like, they make these animals way too easily obtainable. And pet stores like Petco and PetSmart, like if you work there, I'm sorry, don't listen to them for advice on reptiles.
Please don't.
Please
stop listening to the pet stores.
For reptiles.
Go to a small owned, a locally owned, an individual, like not a branch, go to them and ask them, because they're not going to lie to you, because their entire business revolves around their honesty and you trusting them to be honest. And they hire employees that love their job. They hire employees that know what they're talking about. They don't just go, oh, you need a job. Okay, you're in reptiles. You know, because I'm going to tell you, they've got pictures of bearded dragons on stuff at the store that don't go in a bearded dragon tank. Like, don't do it. So yeah, it's super frustrating. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they had the heat rocks. Put this heat rock in your tank. What they don't tell you is a bearded dragon can't feel heat. If it's too hot, it'll burn a hole in his belly. That's what, you know what I mean?
If you do some sort of heat mat, you need a thermostat to turn it off when it gets a certain temperature.
Yes. Yeah. Like, there's so many things that like they just don't understand. Exactly, Quinn. Exactly. It's a constant lesson that you learn, Joshy. Having pets is constantly learning patience. Like she said, she had to wait over 3 years just to like get the babies, you know, to be able to make the babies. And now she's waiting for this fella to eat, and we're not sure. You're gonna have to update me, because now I'm gonna be wondering if it's eaten yet.
So the last clutch we had. Okay, so here's a 2-week-old baby. Hey Morty.
I'm so excited.
This one was born in July.
Hi, baby. They're so pretty. Now, how many times has that one eaten since July? Did you say five?
Hasn't missed a meal since he was 2 weeks old.
So, and how often do you feed them?
Once a week.
Okay. And then a guy that size, what does he eat?
This one will eat rat pups. So not the pinkies, but one size up. So with snakes, you typically want to feed, like you find the biggest part of their body and you want to feed something that's the same size or a little tiny bit bigger, so they have a tiny little lump, but nothing too big. A lot of people will feed too small or too big. And like he just ate yesterday, so she just ate yesterday, so I'm trying to be careful, but you can kind of see the little
Yeah.
Well, but it's not very big. Still on small rats, frozen. So okay, we have too many snakes right now to deal with frozen thawed. We do not feed live. The only ones we feed live to are the ones that are eating pinkies or pups, because the pinkies or pups don't have teeth. They cannot hurt our animals. After that, it sounds horrible, but we fresh kill because we go right to the source. To feed our snakes, it would be about $900 a month if we did not have a source that we could go and help feed them and clean them and everything, because we have big breeder friends that run their own rodent breeding facility.
Right.
So that's how we get our food every week. That's why we don't do frozen thawed. Plus, to be able to keep that many in our fridge.
Yeah. I think that that would want to be my choice, because I know that it's fresh. I know what it's eaten. I know who's taking care of this mice. So I know what's going into my snake on top of it, right? But man, they're so damn cute. I don't know that I could. And then I can't listen to it either. My friend would feed his and I'd be like, I can't watch it. And I'd have to leave until it was like not making noise anymore, you know?
Yeah, I'm not saying I became desensitized to it, but I'm a lot less sensitive than I was in the beginning, because I used to like almost cry every week, especially when we started helping clean the rodents, because like, you know, we do everything very humanely. Even the rodents, like we treat them as pets until they are going into an enclosure, because they're still living things. Like these rats and mice that we help take care of, they eat like the best food like ever. They get plenty of water every single time we we go in and we clean them, we pet them all, and like, you know, like they're still animals. And so it's kind of like you see them from start to finish in all different age groups, because like this little guy right here will eat a pup, while our Burmese pythons is eating the rats that are so old they're gonna die soon anyways, because they're so big and they don't live that long. But
now how big of a rat? Like how big is that? Like does he eat? Like,
okay, so our bigger snakes eat jumbo rats right now. I could be feeding rabbits, but I don't. They're harder to come by, and I don't want to pay for them because they're like $20. But a jumbo rat the size of the body is like that. They're huge. They're huge. And when they get that big, they are not fun to mess with. They are not fun at all.
I'm more scared of the rat than I am the snake.
Well, it's funny though, because like our friend that they help, they're the ones that run this rodent breeding place. She actually found out she's allergic to mice bites, so she can't help with the rodents anymore, because she got bit by one of the mice and her whole hand swelled up within minutes, and she had to go to the ER.
Oh wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right,
almost had a rat.
Go ahead.
We almost had a mouse escape in our house last night because it jumped out of the bin when I was putting it in with these guys.
Look, mice were not welcome in my last home, but I lived in the woods, so like they just sort of appeared, you know. But if you guys are just tuning in, this is Bliss Muffin, and we were talking a lot about pets and a lot about patience and how different pets teach you different things and different levels of patience. And like she was saying, she struggles, she wants the instant gratification, but these guys have made her wait 3 years before she could actually get to have some of the babies. But now look how cute. Like I want it so bad.
Yes, I've got 9 tarantulas.
See, those I'm not so. Oh God, that's like a whole other thing. If they're in your house and they're locked up, fine. If you're outside, fine. But if you're in here and I can catch you nicely, I will remove you. If I can't reach you, I'm throwing something at you or you need to leave. I don't like.
Oh, I'm scared of house spiders and like spiders in the wild, but my tarantulas, for some reason, I think they're cute. But I'm strange.
There's this TikTok lady that has the cute little. She's got the jumping spiders, and I actually just found her the other day, and I favorited her. They're cute. I will give you that. They're cute. But also, if it jumps at me, I can't promise my reaction. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
If you sit there and let me look at you, fine. But if you jump at me, I can't promise your safety, little bug.
I still jump if any of my snakes like go to strike. I still jump. My husband will stand there and take a bite. He literally like is not scared of anything, and he's just like, how do you do this? He had one time we were cleaning out our friends' enclosures, and they even have rear fang venomous ones. So the rear fang venomous actually have to like chew on you to inject their venom.
Right.
But he got nicked by one and didn't even like phase him. There was one time he had a snake wrapped around his hand and like its teeth were in his hand, and they was like struggling and to just wouldn't let go. And he just waited for me to go get the rubbing alcohol. So pro tip, you ever get bit by a snake and it won't let go? Alcohol.
Rubbing alcohol?
On their nose. On their nose. It
like
makes
a Q-tip dropper?
I just dip my finger in it and dap it on their nose. And
we're not cutting the head off. We love these creatures.
They're my babies. Yes, I kiss
not
my
everybody's
snakes.
snake people, though,
No, I have so many people that are scared of snakes. Oh, okay. So let me put this guy away, and I'll show you my special baby.
All right. Yes.
That's taught me way more about patience.
But if you guys are just tuning in, this is Lessons Learned. We had Robert on earlier, and we talked about gratitude, and we learned that his level of patience surpasses most of ours. He is an amazing soul, and now he is super grateful for his new job that respects him and treats him amazing. And now we have Bliss Muffin, who we were talking about patience and how her animals have helped her with that. Isn't that one gorgeous?
I'll show the spider button before I leave. But this one right here is actually over 2 years old. She's just very, very stunted.
Okay.
Because this little girl right here was born without a tongue and only half her teeth.
Oh.
We got her from...
Can she eat okay? How do you feed her? Does she eat normal?
So for the first good part of her life, we had to assist feed. We actually got her from another breeder because they were going to keep her because they have lots that like they've had to assist feed forever. But she was like, she knew that I have a special place in my heart for special needs animals and animals that need a little extra love because I know the feeling. So she asked if we would be comfortable taking her on. And she's like, she doesn't have a tongue. She can't eat on her own. She might never eat on her own. Probably won't ever eat on her own. And I was like, yeah, sure. And we had the stipulation, like, if you can't get her to eat, you need to bring her back. I want to make sure she thrives. We've got her to eat, assist feeding. But something miracle happened. She actually eats on her own about 90% of the time now.
Yay!
Yeah. She eats about 90% of the time. Oh, her markings? Yeah, she's one of the ones that has the jack-o'-lantern on her.
Oh my God, it is a pumpkin!
Yeah, she's got the jack-o'-lantern on her.
That is awesome.
But yeah, so she's my special baby. She actually eats on her own a little over half the time. She didn't eat yesterday. That's the only reason why I'm holding her, but she ate the week before. You can tell she's not skinny. She's
right. She's healthy.
She's healthy. She's just stunted because when you assist feed, you can't feed the right size animal because they don't relax enough to get that big of an animal now. What's she called? You name her. So this one's name is Jackie because of the jack-o'-lantern. Her name is Jackie. She is actually a fire pied ball python. So the morph is the fire pied. So that's why she's a little bit brighter, and the pied is just the markings and the coloring of her.
Colors, though, like I've only ever, my friend has one that's like a tinted red, orangish red. I've never seen in like real life the whites or the albinos or anything.
Yeah,
I've seen a yellow. I've seen a yellow.
The albino. So yeah, the white the yellow snakes are albino.
The yellow are albino. The white ones you said are not albino.
The white ones are not albino. You can have a white snake that's albino, but the coloring is not albino. The coloring is either ivory or like mine, they're blue-eyed Lucy's is what they're called. But yeah, the white is not albino. A project that's making me also learn patience that I want to do is I want to produce cherry bombs. Is what they're called. So they're all white, but they albino, so they have red eyes.
Oh.
And I haven't started that project yet, so I got to wait for one of those little girls to grow up all the way. So 3 years. I have to breed her with an albino. I have to take that albino baby, let that grow up, And then, because then that one will be het for the super lesser. And then I have to wait for that baby to grow up and breed it with another bell and go from there to try to get. So we're talking like 6 to 9 years. Yeah.
9 to 12 years is what I got. 9 to, yeah, that's a lot. That's
Yeah. So it's definitely not instant gratification unless we can streamline our project and get one that's already het. But yeah.
Right. For those of you that are asking questions about the snake, and if you have questions, please favorite Bliss Muffin. She will tell you here in a little bit, just a couple minutes, when she goes live and when you can find her. And I'm sure she'd be more than willing to help make sure that she sends you in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm always willing to share any sort of knowledge because I love these. I love my reptiles. I love my snakes to death. And I want every snake to thrive. I want people to get the right information. I prefer people to ask questions if they have any on the animals, just because, like I said, there's so much bad information out there. And I'm not saying that I'm an expert by any means. I know experts. So that's where I've asked my questions from. We have friends that have been breeding for like 30 years that have created their own morphs. So yeah, she's a Halloween snake, definitely. She's got the jack-o'-lantern on her. She's definitely my little pride and joy just because of how much we've had to care for her. But she's a good little girl now.
They're just so fun. I don't know if you guys have ever held a snake, but they feel so cool. They're just,
we have some that have different texture. Our hog nose is actually kind of rough. Like the scales are rough. But like these guys are super smooth. And the people that are like, oh, they're slimy, it's like they're not wet. Like there is water snakes that might be slimy, but these guys definitely aren't slimy. They're nice and smooth and they're soft. Have you ever seen a scaleless snake?
No.
So their skin is like velvet. They don't have scales. It's just their skin, and they're like velvet.
Those are cool.
Yeah, this one's name is Jackie. The other one that I was holding doesn't have a name yet because I don't know which one of that clutch I'm gonna keep. Which is another thing. Learning how to let go of things that you love. Every single time we have to sell babies or like rehouse them, I cry a little. Because seeing them from egg and when they're hatching, seeing the eggs hatch is like one of the most like rewarding things ever. Seeing them take their first breath. The first time I saw one of my snakes take its first breath, I cried because it was just like, it's the cutest thing. They come out and you just see them, and then they're so cute.
I mean, I would love to see it. I would love to be able to witness that. Like
I've got some video of the first my first clutch when we were cutting the eggs. So once they start to pip, so snakes when they're born actually have a little tooth on the end of their face, like right there, and that's what they use to cut the egg open with. Because when you see eggs, you see slices on them. It's because they can slice that egg with that tooth, and then it comes off after their first shed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But when like half the eggs pip, we can cut the other ones open just to kind of give them, because sometimes they will get stuck. We actually had our friend snake didn't make it because it got its head through, but it couldn't get the rest of the way through. So if we would have cut the egg, they would have been fine. But it's just, so far I haven't had any babies that had to be cold, which, born with deformities or ones that weren't going to make it. Which I know is coming and is going to be another life lesson of, this is one of the not perks, but downfalls of having breeding. Yeah, sometimes you cut the egg.
And I think that would be something that would be hard too, is if you have a loss or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that'd be really hard.
So snake eggs are actually super pliable because when they're incubating, they still have moisture. But Kitty, hi! But the eggs are super, super pliable. When they're hard, they're dehydrated, but they're typically pretty pliable. And you can cut them. We just cut them with like the scissors you get in like nail kits. That's what we cut the eggs with, because they're super sharp but little, and they're angled up. So you squeeze the egg, make a little seam, and then you on the seam.
I didn't know they were squishy eggs either.
Yeah. It's weird. The first time and it's really cool too. So there's a thing you do when you first when the eggs first come out. To put them in the incubator, you need to find out where the membrane is. So you candle the egg. So you turn the lights off and you put a light up to the egg like a little flashlight, and you can see all the veins and stuff. And it looks like a little galaxy. It's so cool because it's like there's life forming in there, but it looks like the galaxy. It's super cool. Now you want a snake? I have some available.
I know, right?
I've got 3 ready to go, and then I've got 5 that are learning to eat so they can get ready to go.
Ay. They're just so fun. All right. Well, unfortunately, I only have a few minutes left. So really quick, when can we find you?
So I'm horrible and I don't have a schedule yet, but I typically go on during the day, or I go on around like 9 or 10 at night Pacific time.
Okay. So late for me, or
oh, you want to see a spider? Hold on, let me go get.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
All right.
I don't handle my spider.
While she goes to get the spider, I am going to say, you guys, thank you again for being here. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for all the favorites. Thank you just, again, for listening, for being here. And
This is our newest one, and it needs to be transferred, but he's the easiest to see right now. This is the Arizona blonde.
Too big. Too big. I love you. I love the snakes, but that guy, oh heck no, not in my house.
I actually have one that I will not handle at all because he's not very nice, but he's about the size of my hand and he's not even full grown. It's a pink salmon bird eater.
I'd be crying. I'd be like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. No, Alex, you go to her stream and you can see it there. Hey, GBs. I'm just kidding. You could show it.
It's in a bigger enclosure and he's hiding right now because he's getting ready to molt. He wouldn't even eat yesterday. But I will show him later.
Yeah. She from what I understand, she's willing to talk about all these guys at any time if you guys catch her on. She's willing. But that being said, if there's nothing else you want to add to this, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to say my goodbyes, do my Q and head out.